YouTube, what's the word? What's the word, chat? What is the word? So let's go ahead and get started here shortly. Let me go ahead and put this inside of my Telegram chat real quick. And then we can go ahead and get started. Let me make sure that we live. And then we should be good to go, chat. Boom. And then put this in the Telegram. Wow. Alright, so just put that inside of my Telegram chat, so we should be good to go. Alright. Boom. So we should be good, right? Now, how's everybody doing? How's everybody doing, chat? I feel like I haven't seen y'all in a long time. But it's only been a week. But let me put my Zoom, let me unmute y'all. But I feel like it's been, like I said, a long time, but it's only been a week, right? So we're about to dive right into it. We'll be going over gold, we'll be going over US30, and then we'll be going over NASDAQ. Y'all said don't forget about my Zoom. No, I didn't forget about them. I got them unmuted and they can see the screen already, so they should be good to go for my Zoom people. And then they said, let's learn and earn. Absolutely. All right, so does anybody have any particular questions, though, before I get started? Let me know, chat, if y'all got any particular questions, and then we can dive right into that before we jump onto the actual charts, right? So I'm gonna give y'all about 30 seconds to jump on. You said my mic is low. Bro, y'all say that every time, and I swear right before the call, I literally turned my mic up. So I'm not sure. Let me know. If it's just, maybe y'all just gotta turn your volume, because I literally got my mic up like where it shows like it's almost in the yellow. But let me know, chat, if my mic is low. But cause I could turn it up, but I don't wanna go like blowing up y'all eardrums. Like, I don't want it to be loud. It says sound fine to me. They just need to turn up their volume. Okay, cool. All right, perfect. So will I go over GBP USD? Yeah, I can go over GBP USD today. All right, perfect. Do anybody else got any questions about anything though before we get started? All right, cool. All right, so since we're gonna be going over GBP USD, I'm going to go over the dollar DXY, because that kind of goes hand in hand with GBP USD. So starting with the dollar, of course, y'all know we start from the top. We can see that the dollar, of course, has been in between these two monthly trend lines. We have this monthly trend line where the story is every time the price came to this monthly trend line, it bounced, and then right here we are sitting at this level where we could potentially see a bounce, right? So the DXY has been dropping for the last few months. As you guys can see, these last few monthly candles have been dropping, but we are sitting at this trend line here. So this is an area of interest where I'm eager to see how price will react. But one thing that we have to keep in mind is that this is a monthly trend line, so it won't just like bounce and like push up way, like a big move from there. It'll take a while before it pushes away. So what I mean by that is here we had this monthly bounce off of this trend line. It took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles before it kind of started to push away. here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like damn near like 10 candles before it began to actual push. Right now we sitting at 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll see if we actually begin to get a push from the monthly time frame, right? Now dropping down to the weekly, we can see that this is starting to form a descending channel with some divergence. So that's the kind of another indication that we could potentially see a bounce from this area, because this is a reversal pattern, right? So that's the thing that we want to be mindful of. Now going into, let me remove some of these fibs because we don't really need these. Don't need this. We don't need this. All right, so on the weekly time frame as well, though, we can see this was a 23.6 retrace. Even if we drag this down, we can see we haven't really, well, we retraced to 23.6 again. So we'll see if we get a deeper pullback. Now coming on a daily, this is where you can kind of see that descending channel a little bit better. So between these 2 points right here, descending channel, we at this level of support right here. Can make that a daily level of support. So the story is every time price came here, it's bouncing. And then if I drag this over, you can see that same concept has been bouncing, right? So based off of that data, and then let me take a look at the week. The week candle left with this huge wick exhaustion candle, this doji. Monthly hasn't closed yet. Daily, we just had a bullish variation, so students shall know what that means here on our daily time frame. So that's something that I want to kind of take note of. And then going down to H4, but let me see something else real quick. All right, so this will be our daily breaker structure. So I haven't marked this up in a while, so that's why I'm kind of making sure that I'm going through this. If price breaks above this previous lower high point, the trend is now shifted on a daily time frame. So that's something that we want to be mindful of. Coming down to H4, we can see that this has been in this little like downtrending structure, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. Our last lower high point on H4 is right here. Boom. So that's something that we want to be mindful of. And then we can get a little bit closer to price as well with this trend line right here on H4. Oops. So we just now starting to break this trend line, but I would like to see this structure break before I'm convinced that this is going to go above this line. I would need to see a break and a retest, and then next after that will be, of course, carrying it to that trend line, which is this daily descendant channel. So let me change those to dailies. Boom. All right, so that's what I will see. Like, that's how I will interpret that based off of H4 in the daily. And then coming down to H1, actually, let me put some dots on here real quick. Y'all know I determine my structure by my dots. That's how I'm aware of where I'm at in the market. So this is my H4 dot, and then my daily dots will be here. And then coming down to H1, same concept. We had this low that got broken. So this will be the breaker structure on H1 right here. So I can put a dot there as well. Actually, no. We had this dot right here that got broken. So H1 has already shifted bullish. So we see we had this impulse breaker structure, had this correction, then we got this continuation, had another correction, now we get this other continuation, right? So now I can place a fib on there, point A to point B. This was a 38.2 retrace. It already hit negative 27 take profit level. So that's cool. And then we can see that we broke this other high here. And then we respected it. So we broke above, retested. So now the next target is that negative 61.8 take profit level based off of this H1 structure. So what does that tell us, right? So since this is the DXY, this is telling us the dollar currently at the moment is getting stronger. All right. So since the price is getting stronger for the daily, then that gives us an indication that the market could potentially get weaker based off of the GBP USD, like we talked about going over, right? So I can see this coming to this negative 61.8, and then I want to watch price in this area. See if we break above this 1 hour structure high. If we break above this 1 hour structure high, then this is a sign that we will continue to go bullish after we get our correction. But that's something that, you know, it's going to take a while to happen. Well, not even a while, but it might take the end of this week. So you can see this original move started on Wednesday and it hit TP by Friday. So we might see this at the beginning of the week. And then let me see. I know we got some news events today. I mean, not today, this week. So let me take a look. Monday, we don't really have too much. It's just a yellow folder. Tuesday, we have PM. No, I'll take that back. That's for Euro and GBP. So for people that trade GBP USD, we got news on Tuesday. We got PMI for GBP. And then for USD pairs, we do got PMI. All right, cool. So PMI on Tuesday, and then Fed Chair Powell speaking on that 11:35 on Tuesday. And then let's see, we got GDP and unemployment claims on Thursday. And then we have core PCE price index on Friday. So not too much, nothing crazy. Of course, of course, pay attention to the news, but nothing standing out to me. Nothing standing out too much, right? So remember though, once we get to this negative 61.8, price could pull back into this area. This variation line, price could pull back into this area and then give us a push. So that's something that, I'm gonna keep note of as well. Other than that, I can see price coming to this negative 61.8, and then I need to see how price will react. So that's what I have for the DXY going into this week. And then, like I said, we'll go over GBP USD. All right, does anybody have any questions about that? Somebody said, Mike, if you know the direction on the H4, then you go to your 15-minute and look for entries? Yeah, I usually do a 2 time frame kind of rule of thumb. So if I look at my H1 structure, I go down for my M15 to look for my entries, and if I'm looking on H4, I kind of go down to M30. So that's something that I do. That's just like a rule of thumb. Geo says, since I trade GBP USD, how often do you suggest I look at the DXY? I think you should look at it every day, just to kind of get a sense of what the dollar is doing. Of course, you don't let the DXY dictate, whether you're going to enter the market or not, but it's definitely can be used as a confluence. That's for GBP USD. Now for gold, I look at the DXY, but I really don't let that kind of dive too deep into it, because I do know that gold is moved by other things and not just the DXY. But GBP USD is kind of just, it's literally the pound versus the dollar. So I will look at the DXY on a day in and day out basis, just to kind of get a feel for where it's at. But all right, so that's what I have on DXY, and then let's go to GBP USD. So last time we marked this up. I don't even remember the last time we marked this up. It looks like we was here, And then we talked about this break and retest to that zone. That looked like that played out. So I can get rid of these. I don't really need these anymore. Don't need this trend line anymore. Don't need this up here. Don't need that. All right, so let's start from the weekly. All right, so on the weekly time frame, we can see that this is in a downtrending structure. So if I draw out this structure as such, we got low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. This hasn't surpassed this lower high point yet, so technically still in a downtrend structure. But then I'll come on the daily. Well, actually, let me look at that last weekly candle real quick. The last weekly candle had a lot of rejection, and we engulfed this previous daily candle. So that's something that, you know, I want to be aware of. We did just break above this high point right here with a brand new impulse, so that's something I'll take note of as well. Coming on the daily, we had this break of structure, and then we broke here. All right, so this daily, we had this bearish variation pattern. So it's two things that can happen on this daily time frame, right? And let me kind of show y'all. So if I draw out this structure as such, and I'm gonna just put these as H4 dots, but you see how we broke underneath this last previous higher low point here. We broke underneath it, and then let me just make sure this is on point real quick though. All right, so we broke underneath that level, and then we had like this impulse, this correction, this continuation, and then we broke above this lower high point here. All right, so based off of this can do one or two things. This can push and go like this, or since we took out this lower high point right here, this can go like this. Not too sure just yet. I will be sure once we break underneath this low, but right now it's kind of just up in the air. But based off of, let's draw this trend line right here. Oops, meant to put that as H4. All right, so based off of this trend line, I want to see how this reacts kind of in this area right here. We real close to this area, so that's something like I'm gonna pay attention to. And then based off of these little minor structure fibs, this one I had on my own chart. This one hit -27, and then here I want to see how price reacts, right? So I can definitely see this pulling back and touching this zone. So I want to watch price in this area at this 78.6 in that zone. Watch price here to see if we break this trend line or if we respect it. This trend line and this zone. So remember, like, for those that are brand spanking new, everything that I like preach is like basically like taking it step by step. So every line I'm drawing on my chart is supposed to tell me a story. I'm not looking too far ahead. I'm letting the market kind of tell me what it wants to do as it, you know, goes along, right? So it's nothing like, well, I'm not trying to predict where the market is going in, you know, like 3 months or anything. I'm trying to figure out what are the moves for this week, and then as I gather data along the way, then I make decisions, right? Because like I said, I could definitely see it's pushing down, but we got to get past this trend line and we got to get past this zone first. So if this decides to bounce, then you know that this is a buy. But if it don't decide to bounce and break underneath here and do this, then you know it's a sell. So that's how you kind of got to play it. But right now, I'm leaning more towards the buys, just until we get this break underneath here. And the same thing with the DXY. Until we get a break above here, then I'm still technically bearish on this. So I will need to see how this kind of plays out before I give like a determining like bias on it. But I definitely can see this pulling back first. So something like, let me go to the 1 hour and get this, but some pulling like in here like this. Actually no, I don't like that one. I like this one like this. All right, boom. So oops, watch price here first, and then of course, like as you get some data, if y'all even pay attention to this ghost pattern, that's why I chose the one I chose. This right here, if this made a low, a lower high, a lower low, a lower high, a lower low, once price gets to this trend line, and then if it breaks this lower high point, retest it, then push up, then you know it's a buy. Like this will be your buy signal right here. But you will need to see that occur first. Right now it ain't really occurred yet, so we kind of don't know yet. Other than that, it's like we just got to take it all step by step, right? Everything got to be step by step. So that's what I'm looking for right now on GU. I will definitely wait until this pull into this area to see. If you ain't in this, if you in the sales, if you've been carrying these sales, then you can continue to trail. But right now, it's no clear move right now on GU just yet. You know, we kind of approaching this area. This has been an area, like, even if you pay attention to it, came here, we bounced, we came in here, we bounced, we came in here, we bounced, came in here, we bounced, came in here, we bounced, came a little through here and we bounced. This was the only time right here that we broke through. So you see how when we broke through though, we broke, we retested, and then we dropped. So what will I need to see in order for me to know that we breaking through there? I would need to see break beneath, drop, then we know we come into this blue zone. So that's how I'm overall playing GU this week. Like I said, it ain't super clear just yet, but overall we'll see as we get some more data, right? So that is what I have on GU. And then right now I'm just gonna put this little line right here. This is just a breaker structure line for my minor structure, because if we break above this like such, retest, then we can continue to buy up. But I would like to see that pattern happen at this trend line. All right, so that's what I'm overall looking for. Are you still doing the promotion with Liquid Trader to join the other group chat? It's not really a promotion. It's just like if you want the signals, then you just sign up for the broker and then you could join. But it's not really like a promotion or anything. So it's not something that's like I'm gonna take away. It's just there at y'all disposal. But all right, so, and speaking of the signals chat, let's go over what we did in the signals chat last week, because I usually update my signals chat. Last week we didn't have class, so we wasn't able to go over that. But let's take a look. Last week we took 2 trades in the signals chat, and they were gold sales, I believe, and US30 buys. Let me see. What's today's date? The 21st. So the 16th on US30, we caught. Actually, I can just show you on the screen. I don't know why I'm showing it on my phone. Hold on. Let's just come here. All right. So last week we took this. Hold on. September 15th. So this was the week of the 7th through the 12th We had 463 points slash pips last week, and then I was saying we could aim for 500 plus pips. And then gold, we caught, where was that? They was actually eating good. This person made 1,000 on gold. He made 1,800 on gold. All right, so gold hit for 245 pips last week, and then actually hit for 393 pips to be exact. And then so 393 pips on the buys that we took on gold last week. So this was the before screenshot. This was the buy we called. We ended up hitting negative 61.8 for TP3 for 393 pips. And then for US30, we caught another fire trade. Let's see, US30, this was the before. And why did it pull up over there? This was the before on US30. And then oh no, this was the first this was the first one. We closed this one at break even, and then we re-entered. Okay, yeah, so we re-entered on this one after we closed break even, 170 points. And then 300, this was right before FOMC. So yeah, this one hit up for 529 points. So whatever that is, 529 plus 393, that's 922 points. All right, so 922 pips slash points, because you know US30 is counted by points, and then gold is counted by pips. So 922 points. So last week we talked about how at the beginning of the week I had said that I wanted to hit 500 pips at that week, and I damn near doubled it. So that's cool. We had 923 pips last week on 2 trades. This just goes to show y'all that you don't need a lot of trades to make a lot of money. And then you can see everybody inside the Signals chat literally making money. But you don't need a lot of trades to catch like money, right? You don't need a whole bunch of trades. We caught 922 pips slash points on 2 trades this week. And like I said, it was literally 2 trades. So that's just one of those things where, like I mentioned, once you catch the setup and once you actually catch a move, then you can take advantage of it and you can milk it. So like, unlike like people that's out here, you know, not saying this is a bad thing, but like you see people only catching like 20 pips, they're not really catching a move. It's a scalp. But as you can see, like we catch the moves because I understand where the actual market is headed, and that's why I do these full top-down analysis, so that y'all can understand like, okay, what is the structure on the higher time frames, and also what is the structure on the lower time frames for the right now money, and being able to catch the moves so that you can take advantage of it and you don't have to trade. Like, I want y'all to, the reason why I'm saying that is because I want y'all to understand that you don't have to be inside of the market literally like every single day, taking a trade every single day, trying to catch a whole bunch of pips. You can literally wait and be patient, catch a move, and then take advantage of that, right? So definitely make sure that y'all doing y'all top-down analysis, and make sure y'all studying. Make sure y'all really watching these videos, because if you go back and study literally every single one of these videos that I do every single week, you can see every single markup that we talk about literally plays out as the week goes on. So definitely take advantage of that, and make sure y'all studying, and don't just like, even though I do these calls every week, you know, for free, like don't just get on these calls to see what I got. Like do your markup for yourself before you get on these calls, and then you can kind of see like, okay, what does he have in reflection to what I have? But don't just take my markups and say that's the end all be all, because of course I'm human and my markups could be wrong, but even though they not really wrong majority of the time, but there's a chance that they can. But when y'all get on these calls, I want y'all to get on with the intention of learning something and figuring out why I'm drawing these ghost patterns the way I'm drawing, why I'm having the biases that I'm having, why I'm placing these zones, or why I'm placing these structure points, or why I'm placing these trend lines in the areas that I'm placing them so that y'all can go and learn for yourself. Like, I don't just do these calls just for nothing. Like, I do these calls so that y'all can have the ability to learn from somebody that's been in here for the last 6 years and get that experience and get that feedback. So just make sure y'all doing y'all due diligence and not just hopping on these calls just to, just to see my markups so y'all can curb and take a trade. Actually try to, take notes and actually learn. All right. So hopefully that makes sense for everybody. Let me check the comment section. Somebody said you went crazy on US30. Cool for sure. Would you say Top Step Trader is a good prop firm? Yeah, I think so. I see a lot of my students get paid out from Top Step, so I don't see no issues with that. Somebody said, I love you. Well, love you and Ken content. He been growing fast. I try to reach out, but no response. Yeah, Kentrell has been growing fast, but he got a lot of DMs. He showed me his DMs one time, and he damn near get more DMs than me. So that tell you a lot. So they said, tell the people you made 16K in 1 week. Yeah. If y'all haven't seen my Instagram or y'all didn't see my Telegram, I really don't like to tell people is like, of course I could show y'all how much I make every single week, but that's not like my motto in a sense, because like most people do that to show, like most people show y'all online to entice y'all, just to be like honest. Like people will like show like, oh, I made 250,000 or I made $1 million, this week, just to like entice y'all to get y'all to join, whatever they got going on, or so forth and so on. So, and plus I don't really like a lot of people in my business, so like, yeah, I'll tell y'all from time to time just to be like, show y'all what's possible, but definitely not on a week in and week out basis showing y'all how much I made, because I don't need y'all counting my pockets, and I definitely don't need the IRS knocking at my door counting my pockets as well. So yeah, but like they said in the chat, like, yeah, I did make 16K this week, but that's something where that's just normal. Like that's like a normal week for me. All right. And also too, so let's talk, since we talking about that, make sure, I was just having this conversation with one of my students too. Make sure when y'all in the markets, y'all got to understand, and let me say y'all really like focusing on me. Y'all got to make sure that when y'all make profits, y'all get in the habit of withdrawing, right? Never like make money in the markets and then don't take it out. Literally, like make your money and take something out. Please make sure that y'all taking something out, because you don't want to get in a cycle of just being one of those people that show up to the markets every single week. You got winning trades and then you end up losing it because you didn't take anything out, or you overtraded, or whatever the case may be. It's like, why are you showing up every single day and not making no money, and you got the ability to take something out? And of course, like, I understand not everybody, is making thousands of dollars every single week. But when I started in my journey, I remember one thing that stuck with me. One of my first mentors told me, like, have trading pay for the little things first before y'all just trying to go and get it to pay for a whole bunch of big things. So what I mean by that is, have trading pay for your lunch first. Have trading pay for your gas first. Have trading buy you, whatever, like something small. So when I was first started trading, and this was when I was working at the factory, right? So think about this. When I worked at the factory, I really didn't pack a lunch. Like, I would pack a Gatorade from time to time. Like, I would pack like little snacks, but I didn't pack like a real lunch. So guess what I did? We had a cafeteria at the factory. So I would just order cafeteria food or get something out the refrigerator, like a burrito, or like those little biscuits and gravy little packets things that you heat up in the microwave. So that was my lunch every single week, right? Or every single day. So I was spending damn near upwards $100 a week just on cafeteria food. So to put that in perspective, if I'm spending $100 on cafeteria food, then that means that if I make $100 inside of the market, I can take that $100 out, and now that's paying for my cafeteria food. So what does that mean? That means that $100 is remaining in my check. So instead of me taking $100 out of my check every single week for cafeteria food, I can keep that $100 and I can pocket that $100, right? And that $100 will go a long way. Think about it, $100 a week, that's $400 a month. That's a car note, that's a phone bill, that's a lot of things, right? Daycare, like whatever the case may be. So to put that in, the reason why I'm saying that, to put that in perspective, is you gotta treat trading as like, okay, this is literally a money making machine where you can extract money every single week. So if you understand that you can extract money every single week, you got to do your due diligence of removing that money, because it's not yours until you make it, right? So just like how the person said, oh, you make 16K this week. Technically, I made 13K. Why? Because I withdrew 13K, right? So like, yeah, I made 16 P&L like for my, actual like broker, but I withdrew 13K. So technically I made 13K and I withdrew 13K inside of my bank account, right? So when y'all make money, even though if it may not be 13K, 100K, or whatever the case may be, if you made $500 on the week, withdraw 100 or something. If you made $100 on the week, withdraw $50 or something, and put it towards something. And y'all got to start getting in the habit of actually taking the money out so that y'all can feel this is real. Because once I started taking money out for the little things, that's when I began to get addicted to understanding like, all right, I can do this every single week. And that's what gave me the motivation to keep going, because it's like, why would I like continue to trade if I'm not taking anything out? And it doesn't matter how big or how large, it just matters like what are you using it for, and you getting in the habit of actually taking money out. Not just continue to deposit. Like actually take the money out and then really understand like, okay, this is real. You know what I'm saying? Like this is something that I can do. So if I could take $50 out, then I can take $500 out. If I take $500 out, I can take $5,000 out. If I take $5,000 out, I can take $50,000 out. Right? So that's just something that I want y'all to put in perspective. Let trading pay for the little things first, because I know a lot of y'all be like, y'all start with $100, y'all might build it to $500, and then y'all like, oh, I gotta keep growing it, and then end up losing y'all money. And it's like, well, damn, you could have just took $100 out, like for whatever, you know what I'm saying? So just always be mindful and make sure that y'all letting trading pay for the little things first, and not just trading. All right. Satir said, thanks, my car insurance is due and I didn't make a withdrawal last week, but I grew my account by 15%. Okay, perfect. So you grew your account by 15%. Definitely take something out. Now, I'm not telling y'all to take out the whole amount that y'all made, because y'all still want to compound, but definitely take something out this week, whether it's, just do something nice for yourself. Like literally when I started buying myself lunch, I'm like, damn, this feel good, because now I got an extra $100 in my pocket, and trading literally paid for my lunch. Then guess what? I let trading pay for my lunch. Then I let trading pay for car, like gas in my car. Like when I worked at the factory, I used to drive a Dodge Charger. It was a V8, right? So V8s ain't really necessarily good on gas. So my gas was like $70 a week, because I had to fill up I will fill up on like a Saturday, and then I will have to refill up by like Wednesday, and then do it. So really damn near 2 times a week, right? So $60, $70 here and there every 2 weeks, every twice a week, right? So that another damn near $100 in bills worth of stuff that it could be paid for inside the market, right? So just be mindful of that. Make sure y'all withdrawing this week, right? Can you talk about a little bit about the taxes on trading? You just got to find you a CPA that deal with actual trading. I can't really give y'all tax advice on that, but I would just recommend that y'all find somebody that deals with that. And then they could kind of go over that, because everything is pretty much just capital gains. Somebody said, make that mistake 2 weeks ago, then lost it. See, exactly, 100%. So just make sure that y'all withdrawing, even though y'all not withdrawing a whole bunch of profits, right? All right, so Now let's move on to gold. All right, so gold last week we were here. Well, not last week, 2 weeks ago, we were looking for this to pull back to continue to go up. We end up hitting this negative 61.8 TP. And then currently, based off of where we at, this is 38.2 retrace. And then before I do that, let me start on the weekly. All right, on the weekly, we still very bullish on gold. Higher time frames closing bullish, we still very bullish on gold. Daily, we close with this bullish candle. We kind of made this level of support. We still, oh shit, my bad. All right, so let me go back. Hold on. Let's go back here to where we was at. All right. All right, so we was right here. So this is where I started from. This is where we was at 2 weeks ago. We talked about this pulling back to this area and then pushing up. We end up hitting this negative 61.8. And then the price continue to make higher highs and higher lows, right? So I can extend this fib and then we can see that this is a 38.2. But then when I said that, then I said I'll go to the weekly time frame. So now that we're on the weekly time frame, we can see that the last couple weeks have been very bullish on gold. So we know that, okay, this has still a lot of momentum. And then let me draw this weekly fib on here real quick just to see what's the target. All right, so for this weekly fib, we had a 38.2 retrace. All right, so this negative 27 here, based off our weekly time frame, this is This is something that we can pay attention to long term. So this is 377, just say let's say 3765. All right, and let's type this on here, negative 27 based off weekly fib 38.2 retrace. So this is our all-time, like this is our targets long term. Well, not even say long term, but like in a couple weeks from now. So that's 37.65, like I said, well, 69, I should say 3769. All right, but now that we have that, going to the daily time frame, we can see we closed bullish, a lot of bullish momentum with that last candle. H4. Now this is where structure is like important, right? So think about, look at this chat. So we can see that we've been very bullish on this uptrend. We've been forming highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. We have yet to break any of these higher lows. So that means that we are still in a bullish uptrend. Until the higher low point gets broken and retested, then that's validity that we will continue to go higher, right? So what does that tell me? That tells me that we should continue to look for buys based off of H4, based off of the daily, based off of the weekly, so forth and so on, right? Just like I put this note right here. Otherwise, minor structure sells once we break and retest underneath here. Otherwise, if price maintains structure, keep buying. That's literally the same thing that we talking about right now. If if structure continues to push up, then we continue to buy until it's invalidated. So this will be the invalidation right here. This will be a break of structure, right? This will tell us that the market wants to continue to go. The market wants to go down. But right now, it's telling us it wants to continue to go up. Now, just like the DXY, we can see that there is a form of divergence here. So we have this divergence forming right here as such. But does that mean that we are going to fall right now? No, not necessarily. We have to get the sign or the signal or the market to tell us that we are going down. And how does the market tell us it's going down? By giving us an impulse breaker structure to the downside, correct itself, and then give us a continuation. All right, so impulse, correction, continuation. All right, so based off of H4, like I said, we are still bullish. Coming down to H1, we are still bullish as well. So these are our H4 targets, negative 27 here. So let me put that right there, TP2, H4 targets. And that's sitting right at like 13,719-ish area. And then based off of H1, you can see the structure here is as such. Oh shit, hold on. Let me put my dots. So we had a low, higher high, higher low, higher high, and now we forming a new potential higher low point right here to go and make a new higher high, right? So what does that tell us? That tells us when we have these lows to these high points, that means we can draw a fib, point A to point B, 78.6 retrace. That means we can target negative 61.8, and guess what? Negative 61.8 lines up with what? It lines up with our negative 27 based off of this weekly fib level here. So I'm trying to make this a little smaller so it's not like all over the place, but let's come here. Boom. All right, so as you can see, our negative 61.8 based off our 1 hour fib is in alignment with our negative 27 based off of our weekly structure fib. So there's a high probability chance that we can tap into that area, right? Based off of confluence. We have multiple time frames giving us the same area of price where we can look to take profit. All right. Now, come down to H1, we can see that we had this impulse push. This was a beautiful buy on Friday. And then coming down to M30, this is where your minor structure begins to formulate. We got a low. Well, we can start at the top actually. We had a high, a low, a lower high, a lower low. What happened on M30? We broke this lower high point here. So this was a breaker structure on M30. So what does that tell us, chat? That tells us we had an impulse breaker structure. Impulse tells us the direction the market wants to go. Correction confirms it, and then a continuation gives us, a continuation is where we make our money, right? So impulse, correction, get money, right? So from here, now that we have this brand new impulse, we need to see if we are going to get a correction so we can draw a fib. So a point A to point B. Right now, we haven't really got a correction yet. So we can't really draw a fib because otherwise, like, I will place the fib like such. Once we start to pull back a little bit deeper, then we can place our fib. But once we have that, and let's just say hypothetically, this pulls back to right here. Let's just say this starts to pull back right here. Our 23.6 is right here. Our 38.2 is kind of right in alignment with this zone. So that's an area where we could potentially see price respect from. So bare minimum, I want to see price retrace to this zone. But I need to see price begin to pull back first. But what I would like to see based off a ghost pattern will be something like let's see. Let's look at something like this. Hold on, let me fix that. All right, so bare minimum here. So watch price here first. So watch price in this area first, right? Watch price area in this area first. Then from this area, I want you guys to assess what price does in this area. And the context clues, and this is where like y'all gotta study this when I say study it, this is what I mean. So if I look in the past when price bought, so like let's just take this area, take this area, and even take this area. Every time price bought, what did it do? It gave some type of candlestick pattern. It gave some type of sign that the market is about to push up. So what I'm gonna look for when price get here, I'm gonna look for these same type of signs that we had here in this area to let me know that price wants to buy up. If I don't get them signs that I was getting here, then more than likely the market is about to pull back deeper. So if the market pulls back deeper, where's the next stopping point? The next stopping point is right here, all right, which is this next level of resistance. Now will then turn support. So if we don't stop here, I will see price pull back into this area. Then we will watch price for rejections in that area as well. And then we can look for our continuation. So this isn't quite ready just yet. But I'm gonna put this little purple line here so we can just be mindful of that. It ain't ready just yet, but it will set up here probably during London session or even, going into New York session tomorrow. But I do see this pulling back before we continue to buy up. And then once we get there, like I said, I'm looking for this to push up from this area. All right. Now, one thing that I gotta take note of as well is this trend line right here. So bounce, 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 bounce. Now we could definitely probably see our pullback begin to happen right here. All right, so that's what I have on gold. I do see this continue to go bullish. If we break underneath this level here, then we could sell it off. But until we get that, I'm not really interested in sales, right? So just be mindful of that. Other than that, that's what I have on gold. Did anybody got any questions about gold before I move on? And damn, bro, I wish all of these damn bots would stop spamming my damn Telegram chat. And make sure y'all inside the Telegram chat, because I drop a lot of updates from these calls inside of the Telegram chat. And the link is in the description to join the free Telegram chat. All right, so no questions on gold. Perfect. So let's move on to US30. US30, I'm going to run through this real quick because we almost at 8 o'clock. But US30, let's clear that off. Closed very bullish as well on the weekly time frame. So sign that we continue to go bullish. Daily, we starting to see some wick exhaustion, but overall, we definitely still forming definitive higher highs and higher low points all throughout this area. H4, same thing. Definitive highs and definitive higher low points. Like, honestly, when the market right now is like the easiest to trade because it's literally just in the uptrend, right? Like, literally in the uptrend. So all you got to do is wait for a pullback and then buy it again. Literally, like, it's that simple. It said in general, higher time frame going opposite of lower time frame. How are you safeguarding yourself? The way I'm safeguarding myself is anything that's going against the main trend, I do not look to like trade it for a long time. So that means that anytime I take shorts, if I'm taking sales in a very bullish uptrend, my sales are going to be very short-lived, meaning that I'm not looking to carry it all the way to, negative 61.8, or I'm not carrying it all the way to negative 27. Sometimes I might just carry it to the 0%, which is the next stopping point, previous level of support or resistance. So I'm not looking to, like I said, hold those trades for a very long time because I know it's the opposite of the main trend, right? So that's how I safeguard myself. And then also you got to make sure that you got a breaker structure on them smaller time frames. All right, moving on to H1. H1 is still bullish as well. We can mark off our structure points on H1. We got these higher highs and higher lows, and let me put those to H1. All right, so on H1, until we break underneath here, we still bullish. We haven't quite yet hit this negative 61.8. So we had this fib on here for a while, since August. It retraced to a 61.8 retrace level. And we almost hit that negative 61.8, but we quite haven't hit it just yet. So don't be surprised if this doesn't hit. I mean, don't be surprised if this goes and hit that negative 61.8. Now, what I'm checking is right now is to see on the other brokers, did it hit? And no, it did not hit yet on those other brokers. So he's safe to go based off of that retracement level. All right, now M30, just like how we have on gold, a lot of the pairs have divergence, but just because you got divergence don't mean you're going to reverse just yet. It's just a sign that it can, but until you get a breaker structure, divergence really don't mean shit. Like, just to be completely transparent with y'all. So like, don't let divergence steer you and say like, oh, well, since it's divergent, I have to sell right now. Like, we have yet to have a breaker structure. So that means that that divergence don't hold no weight just yet, right? So be mindful of that. Now I'm placing this trend line here because the story is every time price does this trend line, it bounced here, bounced here, bounced here, bounced here. So what can we expect? We could expect price to potentially bounce here, right? So that's something I'm aware of. I would like to see price come to that trend line. So everything really, like right now, nothing is ready. Like everything is really just giving a pullback. So what I would like to see is I would like to see this pull back into that trend line and kind of come in this little level of support again, and then give us a buy up. All right, so something like, let's see if I can find something real quick. Tuesday is what? PMI. That's when we could probably get the real move. So let's see. Something like this. Actually, no, I'll take that back. I don't like that. I gotta find a good one. All right, so watch price here. Honestly, like when you put this in like to perspective, bro, this like trading is really easy, bro. Like as humans, we make it hard though. Cause think about this, right? This is clearly in an uptrend. Clearly forming definitive highs, definitive higher lows, right? So what does that mean? That means that we buy until it tells us otherwise. So knowing that this is the level of support, and every time price came here, it bounced, it bounced, it bounced, it bounced. Where should I be looking to buy from? I should be looking to buy from where price is bouncing from, which is this level of support, right? Now, if price comes here, what I need to see? I need to see some bullish price action at this area, signaling that price is buying. And then what do? Once I get the buy signal here, I'm going to buy. If it pulls back deeper, where's the next stopping point? The next stopping point is here. If this comes here and it bounces, give me bullish price action signal, I'm a buy. Now, if this breaks underneath here, retest, and gives me bearish price action signal at this area, then I'm going to sell. Like, that's it. And all you got to do is wait. Like, literally, you just wait. That's why I said nothing is ready right now. Because it's like, we ain't even at areas to look to buy from just yet. We just kind of in the middle of kind of like no man's land. So it's like we just kind of wait. Literally, I will set alert here, kind of wait and see, and then go from there, right? And then, like I mentioned at the beginning of the call, week in and week out, we do the same things over and over and over again. It's literally wash, rinse, and repeat. So nothing new, no magic like strategy, or like I'm not teaching y'all nothing new. It's literally the same shit every week. Just wash, rinse, and repeat. And that's why you gotta focus on, as a trader, getting your mind right. Because once you master trading, it's like this is the same. It's the same things over and over and over again, right? So once you know that this is the same things over and over again, you just gotta learn how to control yourself. And once you learn to control yourself, then you just continue to do the same things over and over and over again. That's why it's like, when you think about it, it's like a glitch. It's like a video game. It's like running the same mission over and over. Like, for those that play Grand Theft Auto, if you do the bank heist mission where you rob the bank, literally, like, that's one of the best missions that you can do to get money on the game. And same thing in trading. It's like, do the same things, take the same setups over and over and over again, so it prints you money. But that's why I encourage y'all to work on yourselves outside of trading and not just only on the charts. Because a lot of y'all know how to read the charts. A lot of y'all know how to see the charts. Y'all just self-sabotage yourself. Meaning that y'all don't know enough about yourself to make consistent money. Because if you knew more about yourself, then you would know what triggers you, what causes you to go in the tilt mode, what causes you to go over trade, what causes you to not take money out of the market. Like, you just gotta learn more about yourself. And that's why I'm so big on self-development and really encouraging y'all to become the best versions of yourselves, so that y'all can get, you know, ultimately the results that y'all desire. And that's why a lot of people fail in trading, because they don't look at it from a perspective of learning more about themselves and bettering themselves as individuals. They try to think that, you know, they master the charts and then they will be successful, but that's not the full truth, right? You got to learn yourself. All right, so this is what I have for US30. I have it pulling back, and then we'll watch price here to potentially go up and hit them targets, and then anything underneath here is a sell down to this level right here. Hopefully that makes sense. And then NASDAQ, last but not least, pretty much same thing. Last week closed very bullish. Daily closed very bullish. We almost at this negative 61.8. That's our main target based off of NASDAQ, based off of that fib. So let me put this. And then on, all right, so this one played out. We could get rid of that. You can see last time we had the call, what I mentioned was watch price in this area right here for buys. What did price do? Shot up. So like I said, same thing week in and week out. We just gotta learn more about ourselves, chat. All right, so this was a level resistance that got broken. Barely got a retest. This can be another area where we can buy from. And then we also have this level right here. I would like to see price pull back just a little bit deeper. Before we continue to push up. Now, if we break underneath this level, that will be our breaker structure line, but I think we're pretty good to go. Maybe watch price in this little area right here. So look for a pullback and then more buys on NAS. Just flowing with the trend, ultimately. And carry that to that negative 61.8. Anything underneath here sells. So simple. Under here, look for sales. Otherwise, keep buying to negative 61 point. And that's at 24,790 ish area. Yeah, 24,790. 24,790. Perfect. Perfect. So this is what I'm overall looking for. So a continuation to this area, negative 61.8. If we continue to maintain this bullish structure. If we don't, then we look for sales down the way. But we haven't gotten there yet, so we can continue to look for overall buys, right? So, you said this sounds like the easiest weekly charting call you ever done. Is that true? No, I wouldn't say the easiest because it's not clear as day, what's about to happen next. It's just one of those things where, we know that the market is in a bullish uptrend, so we kind of gotta stick with the trend until it's over. If week in and week out, literally we've been printing uptrends on all of the pairs, so it kind of makes it easy when it's trending, but I wouldn't say this is the easiest markup for Let's Chart Sundays, because it's not no clear move right now. Sometimes when we get on these calls, it be clear moves, where it's all right, we about to take this trade today. But today it's just kind of all right, we gotta wait and see. All right. So let's see. Do you give a heads up what you are going over? Do you give a heads up what you are going over on Sunday? I usually do the same pairs: gold, NASDAQ, US30, and then I went over GU today, but usually the same three. Those are the ones that I go over, right? So do anybody else got any other questions about any of that? All right, perfect. So, with that being said, chat, just make sure. Oh shit, I just opened the wrong thing. Make sure that y'all actually studying this week. Make sure that y'all actually studying this week, and then y'all being attentive to everything that we talked about on this call. Make sure that you are showing up for yourself, so not just trying to trade every single week. Learn more about yourself. Dive deep into your habits, what's causing you to do the things that you do, and ultimately pay yourself this week, right? So just make sure that you are paying yourself week in and week out, whether it's big or small. Just make sure that you are paying yourself, right? Somebody said, is that a forecast in your chart? Yep, that's exactly what it is. It's a projection, right? So with that being said, chat, it's good to get back. I know we took a week off, but it's good to have y'all back. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. And then I will see you all again next week. So y'all enjoy the rest of y'all week and have a good Trading week.